Life Audio.
And you wake up and you're like, Lord, what? You're disappointed. And at the same time, for me at least, because I had gone through so much trauma and I'd already tasted redemption, I knew it was already on the way.
Welcome to the Faith Over Fear podcast, where we discuss powerful truths to quiet anxiety and fear, big and small. I'm your host, Jennifer Slattery, and in this episode, my guest and I discuss a topic many of us find challenging, and that's letting others not only witness our weakness, but help shoulder our burdens with their strength. Because, as my guest, Toni Collier, makes clear, pursuing healing and wholeness in isolation is like trying to swim the English Channel with a sinus infection. Much harder and more painful than it has to be. Join us after a brief message from our sponsors. You know, on Faith Over Fear, we talk a lot about healing spiritually, emotionally, and even physically. That's why I'm excited to share something that's helping so many people with pain, inflammation, and even brain health. It's called Sun Power LED. They've created a powerful light therapy device that's completely drug-free. It uses high-intensity LED light to reach deep into your tissues and joints. And it's showing real promise for things like concussions, PTSD, even Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I love that it supports the healing process God built into our bodies. Visit sunpowerled.com and use promo code LIFE to get 10% off. That's sunpowerled.com, promo code LIFE. Sun Power LED, bringing light to your life.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
When we're hurting or when we're feeling overwhelmed, it can take courage and strength to reach out to others for support or even to honestly share our emotions. But what if our tendency to self-isolate, what if that deepens our pain and increases our stress? We might think that asking for help or telling others about our struggles will make us feel weak. But what if our attempts to appear strong actually hinder our strength by forcing us to carry our burdens alone? Well, in this episode, I've invited Toni Collier back on to discuss the message of her latest release, the importance of letting people in. And Toni, I feel like some of my listeners just cringed right now, but letting people in, especially when it feels heavy. It is so great to have you back on the Faith Over Fear podcast.
Here we go. Okay. So many things have changed. So much has happened. And we're building community and pressing into the hard things. So let's do it.
Yeah. And you know all about this. So Toni Collier is the founder of Broken Crayon Still Color, a global organization that helps women and children process through brokenness and get to healing and hope. Toni has encouraged thousands through her vibrant voice and vulnerable storytelling. She's a speaker, host of the Still Coloring podcast, and author of 2 books, Brave Enough to... Okay, that's really changed. There's like 3, 4...
This is the 3rd.
Okay, so 3 books. I'll tell her past 2. So Brave Enough to be Broken, and a children's book, Broken Crayon Still Color. And you did that whole study on, was it resilience?
Overcomer.
Yes, that's
resilience. Yes,
that's what I think you were here to talk about.
Yeah.
And she is teaching people all over the globe that you can be broken and still worthy, or feel unqualified and still be called to do great things. Her latest release, Don't Try This Alone, shows readers that it's not only possible to heal from the things that have broken you, but you can build a strong, life-giving community to support you, be with you in the valleys, and speak love and truth into your life as God puts you back together again. I know you have been through it.
Yeah.
And for listeners who maybe
Yeah.
aren't aware of, I don't know if you were to go through all of it, like it would overwhelm us all.
We don't want to
So,
trauma dump here, guys.
I mean, maybe just recently where you really
Yeah.
needed the support of
Yeah.
people who knew you and loved you.
Yeah. 100%. So it's all over the internets. Okay. But about 2 years ago, September of 2023, I got a call from my ex-husband that he was being extorted. There's video proof and all kinds of things. And it was so difficult because this was not the first time that we'd experienced betrayal and infidelity in our marriage, years and years of enduring infidelity at his hand. And then here we are, with me thinking like our marriage is great and we just planted a church together and it's so awesome. We're in ministry, we're leading all the things. And he just was living a double life, and I ended up finding out from him because he was being extorted and then having to put a statement out about divorce and realizing that my marriage was no longer God honoring. And it was terrible. What's not crazy is that we know that God has a plan for our pain. What's crazy is how amazing that plan sometimes is. And on the day that I found out, on the day that I got the call, I was actually in Nashville. I live in Atlanta, but I was in Nashville. I was filming with a Christian network and I got this call. And what was crazy is my two closest friends were down the hall. They were filming with me. And literally the moment I got off of this FaceTime call with my ex-husband, the next group text were my two friends, Jamie and Jessica. And they were right there. And from that moment, I did not do anything without people. I submitted myself to an accountability group. I was very serious when it came to having an advisory board. And God just kind of showed up through his people. And so that's what I'm kind of writing about and shouting from the rooftops, not even honestly from a place of expertise, but from real experience. Like, we just really cannot do this alone, especially when we're having really hard, painful moments in our stories.
Yeah, when hearing you say that, like it hit you right in the middle of a season or like an experience where you needed to be on in that moment, right?
Yeah, I was filming with a major Christian network. I was on the road super heavy pushing my last book. I mean, like my life was like public, full on. We call it, the machine was on. And so having to, and what's even crazier is 2 hours after I got that call, I found out that my kid's book was on a billboard in Times Square. And they're like, can you go to New York and take pictures with this billboard? And I'm like, I think my whole life is getting ready to change right in the middle of that. So it was really difficult. And I just honestly didn't have a lot of strength to get through it. And so when people ask me the question, like, how did you keep going? How did you uphold your career? How did you move you and your kids the next month to a whole new house, a whole new city, an hour away? Like, what? My people.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, and that's so awesome. I do remember, and I've also listened to your podcast as well. So from both, I remember from when you were here last on our show, and then also from what you share on your podcast, you've experienced significant developmental trauma as well as a lot of our listeners actually have also.
Yeah.
And did that make it even more challenging to seek support and receive support?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I grew up, my counselor calls it parentification, where, at just 7 years old, 8 years old, my mom had a massive stroke. She was completely paralyzed on her left side. Like our whole family dynamic split apart. My brothers, we were a blended family, went to go live with their moms. I mean, we lost like everything. And I became a little caregiver for my mom. And a lot of my childhood was plagued by darkness and trauma, especially in those developmental years, 0 to 13. I mean, I lost my virginity at 13 to a much older guy, very sexually manipulative. Like, I left my parents' house at 16. I started drinking alcohol and doing drugs at 14 and 15 years old. And then I also went through a divorce previously. I was married to a man that had some anger issues, really abusive in so many different ways. And so going through this felt like, honestly, like a slap in the face. I mean, I thought this was my redemption season. I'm like, I married a pastor now. My whole life's changed. I'm a follower of God, not a fan. My platform is growing. Like everything is being redeemed. I had just had a baby.
Okay? And you're like, I'm doing all the things right too. Right?
I am praising the Lord. I am living my life for him. I have stopped cursing. I've stopped with drugs. I mean, my whole life has changed. And you wake up and you're like, Lord, what? You're disappointed. And at the same time, for me at least, because I had gone through so much trauma and I'd already tasted redemption. I knew it was already on the way.
Yeah, say that again. So some of our listeners might be in the beginning, right? And some of our listeners, they're kind of like, they don't even really know Jesus yet. They're kind of
Yeah.
checking him out. And so say that again, just to give them a little bit of hope.
Yeah. I mean, I think our remembrance is so powerful. When we go through hard things, even just looking back and saying, okay, what have I already been through? What pain has come into my life when I was 14, 16, 27, 32? And what can I learn from that? Well, I'm still standing. And it wasn't by my strength. Like, I mean, if we're just like completely honest, when we look back at some of these really hard things, it probably 9 times out of 10 wasn't us. Wasn't us that saved us. Wasn't us that redeemed us. Wasn't us that studied for a test and actually got a good grade. We actually just guessed. Like, there's something else at work here, whether you're aware of it or not. And the truth is, it's your loving Heavenly Father. Whether you know him, curious about him, doubtful about him. I mean, I experienced a moment this past year where I was mad at God. I was like, it's over. This is dumb. I don't want to do it. Okay. Like, and that's so normal. And what I learned in that season, for the very first time, being upset with God, disappointed in his plan for my life, for the very first time, I realized that God's okay with that too. Because again, he's redeeming everything. All of the bad, sucky things are being worked out for good. And if you just take a look back, you'd know that, oh, he's still on the way again.
Yeah, amen. Well, I mean, you have lived experience where you know his character, even when you're upset at his hand, right? Is what I hear you saying.
That's it.
Yeah.
It defies everything that you are. It doesn't defy everything you're walking through, but it does create this oxymoron of, man, the world is so fallen and broken. And God loves the world so much because he loves his people that inhabit the world. And he's good and we kind of suck a little bit, but he wants to be close to us. Like, it's just this real crazy juxtaposition. And it's beautiful at the end of the day that there is a God that we have access to, that in all of our suckiness, he's like, man, I'm waiting on the porch for you to come right on home.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I often will say that I think social media has been one of the hardest things for a lot of people, right? And just the fact that everything is so public, I cannot imagine. I honestly cannot imagine what it would be like to wake up and see on the internet all these people who don't know you, right? And some people don't have filters all the time when they share on social. So how, just walk me through that of trying to navigate between finding your own healing journey, also recognizing your life is very public. And how old are your kids?
11 and 3, which is crazy.
Ooh, and that had to add a layer of
heavy.
hard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest, man. I stumbled my way through it. Like, I had walked through divorce before. I had not walked through a public divorce and public embarrassment. Like, I just had not walked through that before. And I remember when everything first happened, what I really wanted to do was hide. I was like, okay, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of quietly get a divorce and kind of drift out into it. And I'm on it, like, publicly. Like, privately, like, I would tell organizations, let people know, because I want to honor them and be integral about what they're connected to. And I just remember, I'd put this advisory board in place, and it was Lisa Turkhurst, Lisa Whittle, Joe Saxton, Jessica Honegger, Melissa Russell, just amazing women of God. Mark DeMoss, who's a PR guy for Billy Graham that came out of retirement to help me with my statement, like a really close-knit accountability group. And I remember telling them, I don't think I want to do a statement, like, publicly. And I remember Joe Saxton saying, you're going to need to. Like, you have lived out loud this whole time and you're going to need to do it. And I was like, okay, but why? I did not want to do it. I did not want all my business to be out there. And I especially did not want to tell people that I had been in a marriage for 8 years. And for 5 of them, I had experienced infidelity. It seemed, embarrassing and hard. And I remember 2 nights before we put the statement up on December 1st, I was on my living room floor on my laptop on a Zoom call with everyone. And we were, kind of finalizing the statement. And I just kept saying, I'm just scared. I don't want to do that. I don't want to I'm just so scared. And my friend Melissa Russell said to me, Toni, this is like a 26-mile marathon and you're on 25. You're on the 25th mile. And baby girl, she called it baby girl. She was like, God will walk with you the rest of the way. You don't have to run. but he'll walk with you, but you got to keep moving. And we ended up putting this statement out, and it was devastating. I mean, I got messages like, well, of course your husband cheated on you. You have a nanny that lives with you in your house. Well, of course. Like,
what does that even mean?
I genuinely don't know.
We don't even want to go there because like,
But I had created some sort of temptation. Like, I mean, truly just like nasty stuff. And I was advised by my board to completely get off social media. And so I did. I got off the road for 3 months and, I didn't do anything wrong, but I wanted to heal well. I wanted to heal with my children, and I needed to grow my faith enough to even trust God that I would even have the finances getting off the road, shutting down my career to go and do that well. So it required so much trust in God, so much trust in his people, so many friends giving us money and helping us furnish our house. Like,
because you needed a new place to live. I mean, like everything. Yeah.
Everything. Okay. And man, it's going to sound so weird, but like, it's been the most freeing, beautiful season of my whole life. And it's been so painful. And I think that's the beauty of us being able to hold hurt and hope, right? Joy and pain, grief and gratitude. Like, it's been full of grief and so much gratitude for what the Lord has brought us through.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing so our listeners can hear this. I'm not going to ask you if you had any indication, because I don't want our listeners to ask themselves that if they find themselves in that situation, because whether they sensed what was going on or didn't sense or thought they should or couldn't. So I hope that speaks to them that it's not their fault. It's not their responsibility. It's the healing is their responsibility, but the betrayal is not. So now let's talk to me about church, especially for those who have experienced developmental trauma and find a place where they begin to feel connected to God's people and find family in the church. So I'm already hearing, Toni, you have had just in this one event, I'm hearing numerous layers of trauma. And here we're getting to your church family because your pastor. So for those who don't know, her pastor, her husband, her ex-husband was a pastor of a prominent church. And so you had roots there.
Oh, yes. So the church got first originally planted as Hillsong Atlanta. We were the first African-American global pastors ever.
Wow.
And that was crazy and traumatic because of everything Hillsong went through. We had not been connected with them before, ended up planting this church with them. And then all of the Hillsong stuff blew up. We were like, whoa, what is all this? That's not our stuff to carry. We renamed and relaunched as Story Church. And I'm on the teaching team. I'm helping to steward these people. Like, it's our church. And I got to tell you that no one has reached out to me from the church, not a soul. And then I found out that after we had transitioned from Hillsong, there wasn't like a real board in place. So no accountability, no real board. It was crazy. And okay, I'm a fan of like less buts, more ands. Okay. And the big C church came around me in so many ways, and little C church. You have this one environment where it's like I had the outfits picked for us to go to church on Sunday, and now it's not my church anymore.
Wow.
And no one has reached out. You got that on one end. You also have churches and ministries canceling my bookings, and I've done nothing wrong. I had literally a massive church. All my books sent out 800 books, thousands of people, multiple services, and 4 days before they canceled. 4 days. My daughter was coming with me, and someone in their church had Googled me and saw that I had gone through a divorce, and the whole thing. You have that on one side, and then you have 6 women who are major ministry leaders stopping their whole lives to meet with me on a Zoom call to make sure that I represent myself and God well on a statement. You have the church, the ecclesia, the movement of God, furnishing my house. We don't have a, beautiful, lavish house. We got blue walls. You know what I'm saying? And the couch that we sit on was given to me by my best friend, Ashley. And my bedroom was given to me by my group therapy group, my confessional community. My daughter's bed was bought by Jackie Hill Perry. Deborah Folletta bought my side tables. Then you see the church being activated. And so then you get this kind of like oxymoron, for lack of better words, of like, okay, but the church really deeply hurt you. Okay, but the church is filled with fallen, broken people. And it's also filled with healthy people that will cover you when you need it. And so what are we going to do? We're going to trade the glory for all of the grief? No, we're going to keep pressing in. We're going to keep getting more wise about who we choose in the church, what type of church we choose. We're going to decide that we're not going to worship a pastor. We're going to surrender to a savior, right? Like we're going to do things differently and more healthy so that we can get into healthy environments with healthy churches.
Yes. Sadly, I've heard that from a lot of women who have experienced divorce for numerous different reasons. And there's often an assumption that she's done something wrong instead of opening a conversation.
Well, and then in my case, my ex-husband got in front of the church and told them that we had mutually decided that we were going to divorce, that we just everything was just so hard. And so literally I had an entire church community that I was stewarding, believing something that was a lie.
You know, on Faith Over Fear, we talk a lot about healing spiritually, emotionally, and even physically. That's why I'm excited to share something that's helping so many people with pain, inflammation, and even brain health. It's called Sun Power LED. They've created a powerful light therapy device that's completely drug-free. It uses high-intensity LED light to reach deep into your tissues and joints. And it's showing real promise for things like concussions, PTSD, even Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I love that it supports the healing process God built into our bodies. Visit sunpowerled.com and use promo code LIFE to get 10% off. That's sunpowerled.com, promo code LIFE. Sun Power LED, bringing light to your life.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Let's just talk a little bit about relational trauma because there are different layers here. And so to our listeners, there's going to be different layers as well. But that's relational betrayal of the people you invested in. Like that I think can hurt so deeply. And I also want to know, how did your kids are watching their home church. How did you walk through them with that?
My goodness, that was the hardest part of it. Now, I don't even know if you would call it a blessing or being lucky, but my son was so young, he didn't know what was going on. He was only 1. So I'm like, okay, thank you, Jesus, for that grace. I think that was grace. My daughter, however, goodness gracious, very, very difficult. I sat her down. I'll never forget. We were in our old kitchen, our old house. I needed to tell her because we were about to move to another house without my ex-husband. And so I just sat her down and I said, I am choosing to end this marriage with Mr. Sam. Our marriage is no longer God honoring. There's been a lot of lies and not true things being told. And I want to be a healthy mom that honors God in every way to you. And that means that I need to leave this marriage and get us into a space where we can honor God with our whole lives. And my 9-year-old at the time, she's 11 now, reaches over to me and puts her hand on my shoulder and she says, "It's okay, Mom, I'm here for you."
Wow.
And I think really it's a testament to the healing work that I had already done. We try to live on the offense, not the defense, right? Like,
explain what that means. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we want to be prepared for hard times. We live in a fallen, broken world. Pain is on the way, and so is redemption. And we want to be prepared for that. And so for me, that has meant I've been in counseling now for 10 years. There were 3 years there I went every single week. I've been in intensives. I'm in a group therapy group. I've been in multiple different group therapy groups. I just have done the work, really hard work of healing. And that has obviously leaked over into my daughter. And she's in counseling as well. I want to try to prepare her to be emotionally well and stable and healthy. And so I just think in a moment of real tragedy where she could have just cried her heart out and it could have completely crushed her, Instead, she did what she always saw her mama do when people are in pain. Come close, offer support, witness. And she's like, I got your back. I'm with you. And 3 months ago, we were driving out of our neighborhood and we were driving into our neighborhood. And she goes, Mom, I know this last couple years has been a little weird. It's been a little hard. That's how she talks. She's so funny. She's like, but I honestly think that like our life is better. And I think what she's saying is we're just living with more peace in our house. And she didn't know everything that had gone on and what had happened and, all the details. It wasn't age appropriate to tell her. But I think she knew what peace looked like. And it wasn't what we were in before. So it's beautiful and hard.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, and in your book, which I really appreciate, you talk about the 4 S's of secure attachment. And so we have actually had Curt Thompson on it. When I hear you say conventional, so I think they might, if they've listened to that episode, they might know a little about that. But if you could just, for those who maybe that's new to, explain what those are and how understanding those things, how that can, especially for our listeners who haven't had a lot of experience with healthy relationships. And so that feels really confusing to them, like knowing who's safe, who isn't safe, that sort of thing. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, so the 4 S's were originally created by Dan Siegel, and we talk about this a whole bunch with Dr. Curt Thompson because Dr. Curt started our confessional community. So we have a group of 7 of us that are speakers, authors, podcasters, artists, all the things, and we have been meeting for 4 years now. We do one in-person retreat, and then every month we get on a 3-hour call where we confess.
Wow. Okay. And some of the listeners are like, I'm out. I'm just kidding.
I don't want to do that. Thanks. Good luck. You're in a cult. So it's been so healthy and so redeeming in so many ways. And I remember when he first introduced this concept to us about the 4 S's and how Dan Siegel essentially says that we are born into that. Like, right, we come into the world looking for someone looking for us. And what we come into the world with is this innate need to be seen, soothed, safe, and secure. And to be seen is, if you think about a baby, as soon as they come out into the world, they're like, what is happening? It's bright, it's cold, it's not wet anymore. What's going on? And what is so healthy, as we know, is that physical touch, that eye connection between a baby and its mom. Even the dad, like that physical touch, to be seen, to be deeply known, to be in our most vulnerable state, not even able to hold our head up. Okay. And to be deeply seen, like I see you in the room, I'm paying attention to you. Soothed is, what a baby needs. The passy, the rocking, the swaddle. I'm like, that's how you know I have older kids now. The swaddle, the sound machine, like that's soothing. We need that. We need to know that if we have a boo-boo, it's going to be kissed and wiped and cleaned and bandaged. Safety. Like we need to know that when we tell someone information or when we come to our parents with a problem or our caregivers with a problem, that they're actually going to provide safety. They're not going to badger us to the point or beat us to the point where we're scared, right? They're going to provide safety, just being present in the room. And from those 3 S's, we get this security, right? People that have shown up in our lives so much, especially in those developmental years from 0 to 13. They've showed up so much that now we've created this secure attachment, which is like a hot buzzword right now. It's like, what's your attachment style? And da, 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 da. But it creates secure attachment. Here's what's crazy. We need it as kids and we need them as adults. We need people that see us and know us for who we are and everything that we've done, which sounds so scary because it is. Because shame tells us that we can't tell everybody things because they'll share it, and they probably have before. They're going to use it against us. They're going to walk away from us because it's too much. And all those things are so real. And when you find the people that stay in the room no matter what, it changes you. When you find the people that say, I don't have a lot of solution for you, but I'll be with you, and you feel soothed and reassured that they're not leaving. When you find people that don't tell all your business, aren't gossiping, aren't making you feel like your feelings are small, then you maintain secure attachment throughout your life, knowing that you have people there with you. We all need the 4 S's, and we have to find people that can help give it to us.
Yeah, which is what your book helps them to do, right? Right. So we could talk forever, but we're winding down. So I'd like to end with this, a discussion for those who are going through a difficult season. And sadly, there's a lot of them who haven't received the support. Everybody went silent, maybe when they most needed them to reach out. And so what would you say for them both to kind of process through that, but then also to move forward to healing?
I would say this first. You weren't designed to do life alone. None of us were. It is quite literally in our design to do life with people. Sweet Adam could not have done it without Eve. Moses couldn't have done it without Aaron. Naomi couldn't have done it without Ruth, and vice versa. Ruth couldn't have done it without Naomi. Like, we just see all throughout the Bible and all throughout our entire lives that we need people. If you've ever had a flat tire, you may have had to call AAA. If you ever just kind of can't see nothing, you've had to go to the optometrist. I think that's what they're called. I don't know actually what the eye.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
All right, we don't have to go into those details, but you're going to go and you're going to get an eye exam and you're going to help get you some contacts. We need people. And so how much more do we need people when we're in pain? So what does that look like practically? I think it looks like being brave. I think when we were little kids, man, it was so easy for us to make friends. We just hopped on the playground. We were like, you want to be my friend? Here's my mom's number, which my daughter has done a couple times. I'm like, stop giving my number out. Right? It's because they don't have so much shame baggage, right? Like, they're just so bold and free. And I think it's time for us to be bold again, to be brave again, to ask people, hey, do you want to hang out? And be okay with being turned down if someone turns you down. I think it's time for us to get really serious about what it looks like to bring a few close. I mean, Jesus did that, right? Like, in Jesus's most intimate circle, it was just him and God, but he also brought 3 disciples really close, Peter, James, and John, in the Garden of Gethsemane. Why didn't he bring all of them? Because maybe he had an intention, like a real intention with being intimate and being vulnerable and being raw in front of just a selected few that can maybe handle it. So what does it look like maybe for you to even think about your friends right now? Are there people now that you can maybe have a vulnerable conversation with and say, hey, listen, I mean, we've kind of been like friends, like acquaintances. We shared a couple sandwiches together, but I'm kind of looking for deep and intentional relationships right now. Are you interested in like a deeper friendship? Or maybe we meet and talk about some hard things in our lives? What does it look like for you to like invite the mom that you saw at the park on a play date? Or maybe it's not just about golfing with your friends, but it's about golfing and maybe going deep for a little while over lunch. I think for some of us, it's just about us getting intentional about seeing friends, not just as like companions that match or golf or swim or play together, but like that are in the trenches together. Like, I for some reason, for some of us, I just think it's a perspective change that our friends are not like, we're not on the playground anymore. We can be brave and bold and invite people to be our friends. We're in the trenches and we need help. So get serious about it. Get intentional about it. Pray about it if that's your thing. I prayed for friends. Yeah. And it was awkward. I was like, Daddy God, help me. Like it was weird. But it's needed. We need it.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, our children are watching. Our family's watching, our neighbors are watching. So yeah. And again, her book, which I have read, it's really, really good. It might step on your toes just a little bit in a good way, But if Toni could do it, then we can as well, right?
You can't do, ain't nothing special about me over here. We all can do.
And so again, her latest release is Don't Try This Alone. And it shows readers that it's not only possible to heal from the things that have broken you, but that you can build a strong, life-giving community to support you, be with you in the valleys, and speak love and truth into your life as God puts you back together. And she's got some really good practical tools. She goes into kind of the, I guess you could call it, psych education of like why this really matters and finding Jesus in it all. So it's really awesome to hear how God is bringing you through this. And while I remember from your last conversation here, because it was such a good statement, that he doesn't make the pain worth it, but he doesn't waste it. And I love seeing that in your story. And I especially love that you're letting him do so, because that takes courage, but I think that's life-giving too, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I have really enjoyed seeing that God really can redeem anything.
Amen.
What a beautiful reminder.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Toni.
Yay, we did it.
I adore Toni, her authenticity, courageous vulnerability, and the hope her story and how God has met her in it convey. Aren't you glad you listened? If you haven't already done so, subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss a single episode. Share it with your family and your friends, and make sure to rate it and review it. That encourages me and Carol, and it helps others to find our content. Until next time, may you live as one who truly has been set free.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.